The importance of difficulty inside of Geometry Dash should never be understated. It's one of the game's driving forces that makes it as popular of a game as it is today, on top of the fact that if you ask the majority of players how they spend their time the most, they would tell you going for a new hardest. I myself relate very closely to this. I've always wanted to push myself inside of Geometry Dash, now having done multiple extreme demons. Although with that said, that had me thinking, sure, I always want to go for a new hardest, but what is the first level that introduced me to difficulty? Introduced on the 21st of March 2014, Clubstep was added to the game, RobTop's first demon. Adding to the obscurity of RobTop's very first demon, we actually had to unlock this level this time around, the first of its kind, thanks to the brand new secret coins added in 1.6. Now before anyone brings it up, I'm well aware that Clutterfunk in RobTop's chronological order was added before Clubstep, but I'm sure as most of you would agree, if we were to compare these two levels based off of solely difficulty, Clubstep clears. And I say that so easily because of the main consistent theme for any level that finds itself rated demon: consistency. Every single update that rolled out for the game, every single new level that RobTop presented us, every single time, those levels would have moments of holding your hand, making sure that you can ease into the new things that are added to the game. For a level like Clubstep, good luck with that. Clubstep's introduction splits up into two portions, one where you're going to skip out on fake, non-marked orbs, and then one where you're going to have to traverse through invisible blocks. Sounds like a bit of talking, but admittedly, throughout any of RobTop's demons, this is easily the easiest portion between them all. And what that means for us as the player is that we have to skip out on 6 orbs, so the memorization's not too difficult, on top of the fact that with these invisible blocks, there's no fakes. We are going to be making contact with every single one of them. So with those two things out of the way, you must be thinking to yourself, this introduction seems extremely easy, considering that this is RobTop's very first demon level. Not insane, a demon. Well, the thing is, you're not wrong at all. But one thing that people get confused about demons is that an easy introduction almost never equals a happy experience. Let me explain. This plays perfectly into one of the most tilting experiences a player could ever experience on any level they ever touch, and I'm not over-exaggerating either. So I can speak from personal experience. Let's take a look at Insane Demon difficulty level 8.0 and take a look at that level's introduction. Get familiar with the level. Go from the introduction where we're spamming orbs and we're skipping out on fakes. Go into the ship part and then die straight away. Repeat the cycle. Now this is an extreme comparison, right? 8.0's introduction goes on for almost half the damn level and it's much more difficult. But for players who are using Clubstep as one of their first stepping stones in getting better at Geometry Dash, this is definitely going to throw them off guard. An introduction that becomes muscle memory quicker than you'd ever think into a part that, while you're getting better at the game, you'll always find awkward. Not only is the precision involved here something of the likes that we had never seen up until this point, but you're meaning to tell me that during the most difficult sections, the most awkward readjustments, I'm going to be upside down. Yeah, this level is crazy now. And building onto what I said earlier about Clubstep representing online demons really well, this point is amplified considering that this ship portion is home to one of the greatest examples of straight flying in any level RobTop's ever made. Considering that we always trust our skill before our memory when we first start playing a level, this is almost incentivizing us to straight fly here before we know off the top of our head where the invisible spikes are. And this incentive is great even if it's unintentional, considering that Clubstep is home to RobTop's most precise ship gameplay out of any level he's ever made. Now what makes Clubstep a really well made level is the sequence that we're about to go through. We go from the precision of the ship into the high clicks per second of this orb spam into this mini ball section where we're then going to have memorization into a click pattern with the UFO. With rapidly changing game modes and no time to think, on top of a pacing that's not going to change, because we're so early into the game's history that speed changes aren't even invented yet. Now this orb spam segment is up for interpretation. I could definitely agree with you if you tell me that this is easy, but considering that I'm always trying to hear out new players, especially for RobTop's levels of course, this could definitely throw you off guard. Now for this mini ball section that follows up afterwards, I'm going to have to say that it focuses more on memory than anything else. It looks a bit ugly, a bit poorly made you could argue, but it does its job perfectly. And that job is to leave you disoriented. You should have no idea what's going on. You shouldn't be able to flow easily into the next portion. It's meant to deter you. The concept already of going back to back to back difficult sections, all challenging you in completely different ways, that in a RobTop level is crazy. But you're meaning to tell me that on top of us as the player getting challenged by variety, all of those segments on their own are difficult? That's ridiculous. Now RobTop loves UFO click patterns, I can't lie. Coming into this video, I didn't really understand how much he's used it within his demons, but when you realize that this isn't the only mini UFO segment of Clubstep, he's had a click pattern on electrodynamics, which I get is insane, but then to make up for my point, he has it on Theory of Everything 2 and Deadlocked. And adding on to that point, this part is difficult, like really difficult. When I first started playing this game, and of course when I first started playing Clubstep, I was absolutely cooked here, I was finished. The concept of a click pattern, it made me mad. Skill issue. On top of the fact that my nerves were getting the best of me, and I would just panic anyways. So here's the click pattern that I use. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I kind of sound like Eric Van Wilderman in that Deadlocked video, but hopefully that helps, because when I'm on that UFO section, that's what I'm saying to myself. After that, we have a mini ship, so a little bit of precision, we get faked out with some orbs, and then we even get told what ones not to press. Now, RobTop, of course, intended for this to be easy, considering that what follows afterwards is another insane sequence, and I'm not talking difficulty. From the orb spam, we get put into a mini ship. Precision. Yes, of course we're going upside down. Then we have to showcase memorization with a ton of invisible spikes while we're the mini UFO. Then we get hit with one of the most precise mini ship moments in any RobTop level, and it's not close. Okay, we need to analyze that again. What the hell just happened? So those orbs, those are easy. Then we have a mini ship. We go normal. We go upside down. That already sucks. And then we have a mini UFO. I don't like the mini UFO. Then you meaning to tell me it's memorization stations again because they're invisible spikes. Oh man. Okay, let me actually help you out with this ship here. So you can hold on the roof, let go on this platform, but don't let go for too long, right? Because we got to make our way up to the top platform. Thank goodness that there aren't any spikes. We can let go. Then what you want to do afterwards is almost pretend as if you're the cube. This is gonna take some practice, but as you can see from the footage, I'm almost bouncing over the spikes instead of flying past them. This makes it so my clicks per second aren't way higher than they should be, and most importantly, it allows it so I can flow into this changing gravity miniship segment, which is extremely difficult. Think of it as a shortened version of the electrodynamics miniship. And to think that's nowhere near the difficulty of the next miniship segment that we get hit with. First of all, we have to get past this cube section. We have 2 orbs that we have to press as we ignore the other 2. Really easy to do considering that they're the first 2 that we have to use. This then takes us into an upside down segment where I wouldn't really say that this is difficult, more so just getting you on the edge of your seat for this extremely difficult miniship segment. And by extremely difficult, I mean RobTop's most difficult miniship segment, at least in my opinion. Starting off, what adds to the difficulty is how the cube and the mini cube kind of act like this bump in the road. It's not necessary. We just came from this miniship. It looks the exact same as what we're talking about right now with this most difficult section, so what's really the point? If you've been paying attention in this video, it's the consistency. Not only consistently difficult, but consistently changing game modes to add to that difficulty. Now, if you're an aspiring creator, please don't take that the wrong way. It's good to know that some of the game's most popular levels are actually great examples of the complete opposite being done. Take your 9 circles levels for example, right? Mainly focusing on the wave. When it comes to this miniship segment, I found this so difficult when I was first playing Geometry Dash, on mobile mind you if that makes any difference, that I honestly started and finished Theory of Everything 2 before I found myself getting 100% on Clubstep. Or maybe the reality is that I did the nightmare before both and then flexed it when I was like 9 years old. Yeah, I'm not too proud about that. And that's because I would have to also argue, alongside this miniship segment being RobTop's most difficult section with the miniship, it would also have to be his greatest example of flowing with directional changes. And what I mean by flow can basically be described in these two motions. Starting off in the upside down gravity, going back into normal gravity, although making sure that you don't straight fly or nose dive by the time you make it to the next upside down portal. And then considering the fact that we then have to level change while straight flying with the mini ship, that doesn't necessarily build to my point of flow. It was about the directional changes. Although of course I make mention to the entire segment because Clubstep stands alone as having some of those never forget moments. Your electrodynamics mini ship, of course the Clubstep mini ship, maybe the dual wave at 73% on Deadlocked, or the 79% mystery piano on Theory of Everything 2. And that brings us to the ending, where we don't have any orbs to skip out here. We go on the jump pad without even clicking. We then follow that by making contact with all of these invisible blocks, just like we would the introduction. And then that takes us into a mini ship segment where it's going to throw you off slightly. Although by the time you get to this part in particular, this freeze frame, all you have to do is hold on one roof, wait a little bit, and then hold on another one. That's it. And I will be somewhat critical. Let's not pick favorites. Deadlocked has an easy ending. Clubstep has an easy ending. Theory of Everything 2 does not, so we have to acknowledge that here. Clubstep could have had a difficult ending. And on the topic of difficulty would actually be the coin towards this part of the level, which kind of makes up for it. Let me explain that too. The first coin I ranked one of the easiest in the game in my previous video. For the second one, it wasn't necessarily middle ground, but you could have argued that. Yeah, we have some invisible spikes, but they have the exact same distance, so therefore it's the exact same click pattern, on top of the fact that it will basically remind you of the path that's below. Although this third coin is difficult, it actually made my top 5. This is because we almost have to nosedive to the complete bottom of the screen to then readjust as the miniship. Although as I made mention to in that video, as soon as you grab that coin, the same theory applies. It's really easy. Hold on the ceiling, the level is over.